Thank you, Jan.
We have 19 present, 1 absent.
At this time, we will resume the presentation of the respondent. And I remind her that she's still under oath. There's also been a request by one of the council members that the witnesses, any witnesses to be called by either the complainant or the respondent be sequestered, which means they should not be present during the testimony of others in case that might alter the testimony that they might give. So they'll be asked to recess outside or in their vehicles until they're called to testify. Are any individuals that are anticipated to be witnesses in the room? Thank you.
I think they should probably just be outside, not in their cars, because this is live on Keeley.
It's live on Keeley, so if they go in their cars, they'll hear their presentation anyway.
Oh, I guess I can't necessarily prevent them from doing that, unless the council wants to take some action.
Robin, can you hear me?
Who, me?
Just barely. I can just barely hear you.
Ryan, can you
Ryan,
hear
can you hear her good?
Yeah, I can hear her.
Keely, can you hear fine? Sound is good on both sides, Keely and KLC? Okay.
Yes.
Let me share this.
I got a question for Your Honor.
Yes.
Should the complainant proceed first and then the respondent will respond?
She indicated when she was on Skype that she didn't have anything to present. She will need to rebut after Ms. Meridian's testimony. Is that helpful?
Okay, so the respondent goes first. She elected to go first then.
In a sense, the complainant defers, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're trying to get your presentation up on the computer for the Skype or Zoom individuals. As soon as we're ready to go, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Should I open it and then do that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then go here. What is this?
Just,
Trust.
yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Can I see you?
Okay. So can we continue?
You may continue.
Oh, love them. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Council. Lila Wopilai Chichapi. I really want to thank you for coming and being here in person. At this time, I do have a PowerPoint, and I hope that those of you who just joined us was able to get a packet. In the packet is my response to the complainant's letter and the general ledger that was attached to the complaint letter. And with that, Council, I provided a PowerPoint presentation to break down that information for you. And so all of those appendices, A through N, is supplemental documentation, verifiable evidence that I would like for you to see as a part of my response. So with that, Council, if you would like to move, if you can see, great, but I will continue with the PowerPoint presentation. And as I stated up here, it's been an honor and it's been a great opportunity to serve my people in the Oglala district in the Oglala Lakota Nation. So with that, I take that with great humbleness as I did my work as a representative. In this complaint, there are allegations, assertions, and other accusations that the complaint has brought against me, Davidica Little Spotted Horse, on April 28, 2020. The complaint is centered around my integrity and the manner in which I conduct my work. So I believe that there are some misunderstandings. There are some misunderstandings, and I'm providing the evidence to clarify those misunderstandings. What I did, Council, is I took the letter and I broke it down into the 5 areas, the 5 items of allegations, and I listed them out. But please keep in mind, Council, that at all times, I've always worked with the OST treasurer. And why is that important? Because he has the fiduciary responsibility of all funds of the Oglala Sioux tribe. And also, Council, as a part of that responsibility, there are financial systems in place to create checks and balances. And there's staff hired to ensure that there is checks and balances. So with that, I just want you to keep that in mind as I move through this presentation. So the first item, the complaint list, and this is verbatim, The complaint infers that Councilwoman Merdanian has misused tribal funds in the excess of $27,000 in a short 2-month span, according to public records provided by request. That was the first item. $27,000 in a short 2-month span. And this is as per the general ledger that she attached to her complaint. The general ledger is stated, titled, Oglala Sioux Tribe Standard General Ledger dash Masons GL. That was the ledger that was submitted as part of her complaint. And it reflects the time period of 1/1/2020 through 12/31/2020. And you can see it on the side, the snapshot over here. The entries or coding of this general ledger is within the time period of 1/7/2020 to 4/15/2020. So from January 7th to April 15th, 2020, or 16th, excuse me. However, the complainant doesn't specify which 2-month span. Which 2 months did I exceed spending $27,000? So what I did, counsel, using the complainant's general ledger, I broke that down. I broke it down in the 2-month and the 4-month period. So from January through February 26, 2020, a total of $11,686.73 was debited. And that's including Councilwoman Valerie Janice Kilsmall's travel charged to my travel line item. On March 3rd through April 16th, 2020, for a total amount of $8,037.65 was debited. So neither in these 2 months period, according to that general ledger, did I ever exceed $27,000. Now, if you look at for the 4 months of entries from January 7th to April 16th, 2020, a grand total of $19,724.38 was debited. So according to that ledger. Now, for this particular report that we received at council, I did not receive my travel line item report general ledger until the day of council. And with that, I did have a lot of concerns because there was discrepancies in there. So therefore I requested a detailed general ledger report of my travel from Mr. Peter Fills the Pipe. And that's Appendix C in your packet. And you can look at that in detail. With that being, it's the same time frame from January to April, the same 4-month time period that the entries were made. So on this detailed general ledger that I received from the accountant, this is what it reflects on the entries and coding. From January 7th through February 26, 2020, the ledger indicated a total of $10,250 was debited. From March 4th to April 14th, 2020, the ledger indicates a total of $5,536.75 was debited. So from January 7th through April 14th, according to the official standard general ledger, shows a grand total of the 4 months of $15,786.93 was debited. And if you look at that general ledger from April 9th through April 14th, 2020, the ledger shows a credit of $14,239.15 that went back into my travel account. Okay? So therefore, just showing that I did not expend $27,000 in either 2-month period within the 4 months of entries, okay? Now moving on April 29th, and I'm just giving this background so you get a sense of how this was somewhat surprising. On April 29th, 2020 at 8 a.m., we were supposed to resume council, a regular constitutional meeting via Zoom, in which I logged in at 7:58. President called quorum, roll call at 8:30. We still didn't have quorum. Again at 9:30, didn't have quorum. So around 9:40 in that area, we finally had quorum. The discussion was to open up the agenda to add the executive order of the lockdown. As a part of that, there was a complaint brought on. At 9:45, the complaint was emailed to council, in which I didn't receive it right away. And once I did receive it, and realizing that the complaint was on me, and trying to see what it was and looking at that general ledger, I informed council prior to going into executive session that there was some mistakes regarding that particular general ledger. At 10:19, I received a text from OST Treasurer Big Crow regarding this general ledger and this complaint. In there, he states that he will make those changes to the general ledger, and that Pete was going to be working on. Mr. Fills the Pipe. With that, those were the revisions that were made. But this is going to lead, this particular text, which you have in your packet, will also show that it's going to lead to item 2, because there was many concerns that I had regarding those discrepancies and the assistance that was approved at that time. And so council, like I said, it was somewhat surprising to hear of this complaint when last fiscal year, I donated over 40% of my travel to the Oglala district, White Clay district, and its members. And with that, always getting prior approval and discussion with the OST treasurer, as he is the custodian of all funds. Council, I do not hold the key to the general store, meaning I alone cannot go in, put in a requisition, and expect that requisition to be done for me in my name at any time. There's processes that these requisitions go through, and you all know what those processes are as council. So with that, there's approval of these requisitions, and it goes through that process. And the other concerning part regarding this particular ledger is there is a ordinance called 8406, and it's in our law and order code under chapter 21 called the Freedom of Information. Council, this ordinance was put into place for public records, okay? And with that, within section 6 of this ordinance, it states, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, the Oglala Sioux Tribe Executive Committee, or any committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, or any officer and programs thereof shall not disclose any record by any means of communication to any person, including tribal members, except pursuant to a written request by or with prior written consent of the individual whom the record pertains, and when the information requested involves an individual. unless the disclosure of the information would be, and you can find that ordinance within your packet as well. So I list that ordinance out for you to read in its entirety, to understand that there is a process to access public records. Now, at no time did I receive this request or notified of this request to receive a general ledger regarding my travel line item. Now we're moving on to item 2 of the complaint. The complainant alleges that on 2 days of April 19th and 26th, Councilwoman Merdanian received money totaling in the amount of $11,020 for plastic surgery. This is not a valid medical procedure to be provided for with tribal funds. Okay? As I stipulated earlier, in the 2 administrations, in the 2016-18 Weston Black administration, in the 2018-2020 Bear Runner Black Poor Bear administration, I've always worked with the OST Treasurer, Big Crow, regarding my individual budget. And so with that, it's stipulated in Ordinance 1950. And it's also listed in Article 8 or Article 13, Section 4 within the Constitution of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. So in response to this allegation, it was not April 19th, was February 19th, according to the complainant's general ledger. February 19th, the amount of $5,510 to Black Hills Surgical Center LLP was debited and credited on the same day. Therefore, the amount was canceled out. On February 26th, the amount of $635 was debited to the vendor of JR Anesthesia, and $4,875 was debited to the vendor Plastic Surgical Center, according to the general ledger provided by the complainant. Therefore, in this particular line item, it lists for reconstructive surgery, counsel. And there was a reason for that confidentiality. So with that, I want counsel to know that again, in every instance, I sit down with the OST treasurer. And that day, I did sit down with Treasurer Big Crow. And I made this request for this $5,510 to assist a district member who needed reconstructive surgery. And with that, that information was to be confidential. And it was under extenuating circumstances. And I have witnesses that will testify that there was no way I would jeopardize all the work that I put into what I've done through all these years. And with that, again, extenuating circumstances, Treasurer Big Crow instructed me to send him a memo, which I did. And on February 19th, 2020 at 2:36 p.m., I sent the request to Treasurer Big Crow. Because there was some mistakes and miscommunication, that check to Black Hills Surgical Center LLP for the amount of $5,510 was canceled. That was check number 225075. And that was voided out as reflected to the Appendix C in that general ledger. Now, on February 26, 2 separate checks were to be made to the vendors for reconstructive surgery. And with that, it shows that only $5,510 total was debited, therefore disproving that the complaint alleged on April 19th and 26th that Councilwoman Merdanian received money totaling in the amount of $11,020 for plastic surgery. The money of a total of $5,510 was sent to the medical vendors. I did not receive a check in my name for plastic surgery, nor did the patient. It went to the medical vendors for reconstructive surgery. And this is what happened. The day of the complaint that council heard, it was posted all over social media with the general ledger. And it lists the individual's name partially on that general ledger. But based upon the Facebook post that this was received by a community member from Oglala District Chair, who shared this information with her and therefore requested that it get posted. And due to that behavior, those actions, this particular cancer patient did not go through reconstructive surgery in February, in March, or in April, due to the compromised immune system and the threat of COVID-19. And with all of the postings that was made, the physical attacks, the social media attacks of this individual, chose not to get the reconstructive surgery, in tears, crying, "I'm giving the money back." And this was the request of this individual, to alleviate the attacks that she was getting every day. So that was her decision. She contacted the medical vendors and they sent the assistance back to the Oglala Sioux tribe. Here are the check numbers, in which on February 26, 2020, medical vendor plastic surgical center check 225259 in the amount of $4,875 is returned to the Oglala Sioux tribe with replacement check number 16191 for the amount of $4,875 from the medical vendor plastic surgical center. The assistant issued to medical vendor JR Anesthesia check number 225258 for the amount of $635 is returned to the Oglala Sioux tribe with replacement check number 2489 in the amount of $635 from the medical vendor JR Anesthesia. And you will find that in Appendix I within your packet, Council. Moving on, complaint number 3. The complainant alleges in one day on April 9, 2020, she collected 9 checks made out to 3 different stores at a total of $8,500 and had requested the money in the name of travel and supplies. According to the complainant's general ledger, again, it's out of misunderstanding in reading the general ledger. Because if you look at that general ledger that the complainant provided, it shows that 7 checks for supplies to 3 different vendors, 2 of those checks, Best Buy and Sam's Club, were credited back according to that general ledger. The general ledger provided by the complaint verifies that only 5 checks for the total of $2,500. Now let me explain why I requested this. And you'll find this in your packet as well. Again, sending a memo to OST Treasurer Big Crow, I requested $5,000 to go to the district needing these supplies. However, in that memo, I also requested for new equipment, as I've been using my own personal equipment for 2 administrations. And council, you know, we have a line item for office supplies. So therefore, I wanted to use my office supply line item to purchase some new equipment. And that is why those checks were canceled for the Best Buy, because it shouldn't have came out of my travel. It should have came out of my office supply line item. Now, with the 1 check from Sam's Club was because at that time, the district needed supplies, badly needed supplies. And I was getting calls from elders. They needed toilet paper, they needed water, they needed Clorox. So I contacted Treasurer Big Crow and said, this is what Sam's Club said to me, because what I wanted to do was just go and have an order pick up and just pick it up and bring the supplies back. But that wasn't going to happen according to Sam's Club administration, store administration. They said it'd be better if you come in person because of the limited supplies and because the cap on the quantities. You can only purchase so much. So in relaying that information to Treasurer Big Crow, we decided we would go ahead and do the 5 checks of $500 so that when I needed to go, or when the items became available, I could go in and purchase these items at different time frames. And with that, when speaking with Sam's Club administration again later that day, they said, well, we don't have Lysol disinfectant wipes, we don't have Lysol spray. So then I requested 1 check to Walmart so that I could go purchase those items at Walmart. So that was the reason behind the checks to purchase supplies for the district. Now, I did create an accountability as a part of this. And what I was going to do is submit the receipt of the supplies that was purchased, do an inventory. When these items were given out to the district member, they would sign off on it and what they received. And so that we can keep that running inventory. However, there was the issue of executive order, and it did not allow for me to leave the boundaries of the reservation to purchase essential supplies. So then I waited. I didn't go to Sam's Club. I didn't go to Walmart. I waited until the executive order was going to be lifted. However, that didn't happen. I got suspended. So therefore, I voided all of those checks, returned them back to the tribe. And you will find that within your appendices as well. All of the checks returned. Now, as far as the office supplies, here's the memo again, listed in detail of the office supplies for Best Buy. And what had happened is when I placed the order for the items at Best Buy, they would not allow me to pay with a paper check due to their COVID-19 policy. It had to be with a credit card. So taking the check back to Treasurer Big Crow, I relayed the information. And with that, he requested a detailed list in which I provided for him a detailed list, and you'll find that in Appendix K of the supplies that was requested. And believe me, we're choosing Best Buy online in regards to the items that were needed. So if you look at the detailed general ledger, Appendix C, you will see all of those checks credited back to my travel account within those time frames that I have posted there on the PowerPoint for you. Moving on, item 4, the complainant alleges on April 14, 2020, she did receive $3,500 in one day to pay for personal bills, including cell phones, which is not allowed according to tribal funding policies. Now, this is the ledger that was provided by the complainant again. And if you look at this ledger, it shows that 6 families were to be helped with propane from the vendor, Lakota Plains Propane, in the amount of $960, which breaks down to $160 per assistance request for propane, okay? 10 families were to be helped with utilities from the vendor, Lake Creek Electric Association, for the amount of $1,000. The breakdown of 10 families is getting $100 paid towards their light bill. Now, the AT&T mobility was debited $4,000 and credited $4,000 on the same day of 4/14/2020. Therefore, it cancels that out because I never requested for AT&T assistance for my district. So therefore, the ledger that was provided by the complainant, only $1,960 was used to assist my community members with utilities and propane. And if you look at Appendix C, again, that general ledger, it shows where it was credited back, where it identifies 10 families with COVID-19, and it lists the vendors Lake Creek Electric Association and Lakota Plains Propane. And I verified, Council, I provided copies of my personal checks to show during that month of April that I paid for my own electrical bill. I paid for my own phone bill, and I paid for my own propane, which I received from Westco. So I don't know, and I can't understand how I used $3,900 paying for my own personal bills. Complaint item 5. The complainant alleges that on April 16, 2020, just 2 days after she received checks for more than $3,000, she collected another check for $1,822.75 for mileage. This is suspicious because the tribal council was put on travel ban and were attending meetings online. No travel was required. Okay? Now, go back to Appendix C, looking at that ledger. As you can see, I did not pay over $3,000 for my own personal bills. And the fact is, my travel, which is recorded in the official general ledger, shows from March 2nd through April 31st. And so with that, you have to remember at that time frame, prior to, a lot of our OST programs limited their staff and services. So therefore, they became reliant upon us, Tribal Council. We were assisting and getting people to locations, to doctor's appointments, picking up medication, taking them to do their business, their essential business. So with that, that's when the travel was claimed from March to April, from March 2nd to March 31st. And the President Executive Order 2020 or 2002 Coronavirus Disease 2019, COVID-19 on the lockdown was issued April 7th. Not in March, but April 7th. In conclusion, Council, I just want to show that I've demonstrated and provided all of the evidence necessary to refute any and all allegations. And with that, it had put a major spotlight on the breach of confidentiality. In Ordinance 00-07, the ordinance which reads as follows: the ordinance to protect and preserve the civil rights of members of the Oglala Sioux tribe, employees of the tribe, and tribal council. I hope that in the evidence that I provided to you, that you can see that I have not done anything in malfeasance or fraudulent in my actions. And Council, I also want to point out to you that, you know, with all of the information that has been posted out there, the complaint is a libel, which is a false and malicious defamation of another, expressed in print, writing, pictures, or signs, tending to injure the reputation of the person and exposing that person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule. Malice, as used in the definition, means ill will, hatred, or charges calculated to injure. Malice in this context means knowledge of falsifying, reckless disregard of whether a statement is false. And of course, we also have Ordinance 2002-25, and that's criminal defamation within our law and order code. So, Council, there's no evidence to support the allegations that there are basis for my suspension. At all times, I consulted with Tribal Treasurer Big Crow and disclosed what I plan to do, and at no time was I told that this was improper. I respectfully request that the complaint be dismissed and to be reinstated as an elected member from my district to fulfill my term as council representative. Pilamayaya. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
The complainant will now have an opportunity to speak to the council.
Your Honor,
Yes.
at this time, am I allowed to bring in my witnesses as to these allegations?
If that's part of your presentation, certainly.
Well, I would like to do so at this time. So
Okay.
first of all, I'd like to call Stephanie Starr. Comes out, and she has worked for me worked with me in the last administration, and she can verify in regards to how I conduct my work for the district. So if we could please call her in, I sure would appreciate it.
Sure. Will you be questioning the witness?
If that is the protocol, sir, I'd be happy to do that as well. But I know she does have her information that she wanted to provide.
I'll allow you to present it either with her providing a narrative or for you questioning. That's up to you.
Okay, then I would allow for her to provide it as a narrative coming from her.
Okay. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
Ma'am, would you raise your right hand?
Yes,
Do you affirm and swear that the information that you are providing here to the council is true and correct to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, council. My name is Stephanie Starr Comes Out. I'm an enrolled member of this tribe, and I live here in Oglala district. And I am here today to give my support to Tina, Dr. Merdanian. I have a letter from the Red Shirt Table Village, and I'd like to read that. They also support Dr. Merdanian. This is a letter of support for Oglala Representative Valentina Merdanian to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council from the Red Shirt community. Today's date of May 27, 2020. OST Council, we the people of Red Shirt community come together to write this letter of support for Ms. Valentina Merdanian, Oglala District Representative. Ms. Merdanian is a very valuable asset to our community, for she is the main council rep who comes to our community meetings and keeps the Red Shirt community updated and informed with the daily information from the Oglala Sioux tribe. Ms. Merdanian is very understanding and is a good listener. She supports our elderly to the fullest extent of her ability as our elected district representative. We would like to have her kept on as Oglala representative. Signed, the Red Shirt Table community members. So that's one of the a support letter that came in. Myself, I have been on the council. I served one term on the council, and I was co-counsel with Dr. Merdanian. The thing that I and Tina had was that we had communication. A lot of the stuff that we did, we talked about and how was it going to benefit our community, which is the Oglala district. With her being suspended at this time was not a good deal for the people, not only of Oglala, but whom she represents, the whole reservation as a whole. All of you do. We've got the COVID here right now. And I suppose there's a lot of people in our communities all across this reservation who are scared and don't know what to do. Tina had structure, and when she wanted to do something, we had a plan, and we carried out that plan. With her having the title of doctor, that means she's educated. She went to school. She paid her dues because she went to school. Me, I'm still going to school. As old as I am, I'm still going to school. And that's one of the best feelings in the world, is to be educated, to be able to understand what's happening not only in our own local government, but what's happening on the national level. We as council members have to be up on that, to be able to provide the best services that you can to your people here on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So with that being said, I support Tina 100%, and my family, the Star Comes Out, support her as well. Not only that, she supports the elders. Whatever their needs are, she tries to help them and gets them what they need. We have veterans across this reservation. She supports the veterans 100%. And I have, on my family, I have a lot of veterans. They're war vets. So they have a lot of PTSD issues. And that's something that Tina understands because her husband is a vet. So the good thing about Tina is that she presented to you guys, you know, I don't know why it wasn't asked questions before, but she presented why. And you being council members, you should know how a ledger works. And if you don't, well, there's your treasurer, Mr. Big Crow. He knows how a ledger should work. And that's one of the things that it should have been confidential. You all know this. So how did it get out there? I don't know. But in order for the council to come together as one and be able to communicate to help us get through this COVID-19, because right now, I think that's the biggest issue we have here on the reservation, is trying to get through this COVID-19. As of today, this afternoon, we have 20 cases. And if there is a plan, okay, then the people are worried. So let's come together as one and let's do something right by the people. So again, I just want to say I support Tina 100%. And we have a lot of other people from our district that support Tina. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman, do you have additional witnesses you choose to call?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, I do. I have 3 more witnesses, and at this time, I'd like to call my federal monitor, Miss Constance Tenfingers, and she also can verify how I conduct my business.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Constance Tenfingers. I'm from the Oglala district, and I'm Dr. Merdanian's federal monitor for the past, since January 2017.
Okay.
And I'm on...
Ms. Tenfingers?
Yes.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that all the information you would be providing to the council today will be in all respects truthful?
Yes.
Thank you.
First of all, Council, I'd like to read a letter from one of the community members from Oglala. And she states in here, I, Caroline Newholy, am a member of the Oglala district. I am writing this letter in support of our district representative. I am from the Little Grass Creek community. Tina, as a representative, has helped with our youth, children, community members, the elderly. She is always available to address our membership concerns. I have attended several of her meetings where she has given reports to the district. She has helped and supported our communities in times of crisis. She is very involved with our communities and supporting them through activities, wachipi, runs, tiny tots, and graduations. As a representative, she carries the Oyata with her and has done an awesome job. She carries the Lakota values of Wa'unshila, Wokwala, Wachante Ogunaka, Woableza, and Wachikanka. She is a leader and I respect her as a Wakotawiya and her teachings, and then she goes out of her way to represent our Oglala district, Oyate. I, as a Little Grass Creek member, am very grateful that she represents our district in a good way, and as the second term representative, it shows that our Oyate have that confidence in her to represent us. Unfortunately, I cannot personally attend to be her witness because of my relative passing, who is an elder of this district today. I am sure he would support her also. She has helped him immensely, and Pilui, I can't see that word, thank you, Tina, for that, and thank you for everything that you have done for our district. Sincerely, Caroline Holy.
Thank you.
Well, Council, today I'm going to speak on behalf of I and Tina's work together. We communicate every day, even on weekends, regarding what our community members need. And also when we have to turn in requests to the tribe, we talk about who needs help and what the amount is going to be. And I am the person that will turn in the requisitions when she's not able to, so that everything is done in a timely manner to get help for our community members. So there's an open communication between I and Tina, whether phone, in person, or through text. So I wanted to relay that to the council today.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to invite Miss Barbara Dolknife, who is a two-term representative for Oglala District, and also working with her in her initiative, she can verify as to the work that I've been doing within the community. So at this time, if Miss Dolknife could come and present.
Abete washte. Machbia Krakawi and Macha Barbara Dolknife. My Indian name is Machbia Krakawi, and I also retired from the U.S. Attorney's Office, worked in various places. Right now I'm trying to get a children's home going. And I miss Tina because she helps me a lot. As Toka, we want her back. You know, there's so many of us in our district. I voted for Valerie. I voted for Tina. If Valerie was here, I'd support her too. Because as an elderly, I figured, you know, I looked at their education, what they know, and I supported them, and I campaigned for them. We don't just go and vote because we like them or what. But some of the good things she did was with my children's home. She really helped me. She's gone to school board meetings with me, which she didn't have to. But I asked her and she said, I'll go with you. We've done a lot. And one of the things I admire a lot on her is she's very traditional. I see her at all the powwows, and it's good to see our representative in our area. She's honest. She's done a lot. I get little donations here. Last month we got a little donation. I miss her because, you know, I always say, Tina, who needs help? But I went and gave to the elderlies. Elderlies, we get left out. Somebody said Running Strong was passing out things. We never get things like that. We don't get any naha. I live 15 miles out. I guess I really support myself. We're 75 years old. I'm out there. You know, and we want our councilwoman back because she has done a lot of good things in our district. You know, some of the ones, you know, they don't cause chaos. They don't cause chaos in our district. We work. Some people just cause chaos, gossip, you know, they do all these things. Thank God I live way out there, so I'm always the last one to hear. But we all support her. There's a lot more that could have came from our community, but there's death, there's sick. There's a 93-year-old lady that's really sick, you know, and people are over there in her home. So I really counsel, we've all been suspended one time or another, and we've all been on that hot seat. Think about it. And your people, you represent different people across the reservation. Think about it. We want our councilwoman back because we hear other rumors. We hear why she got suspended, why she did this, and why all of this is coming about. It's wrong. It's up to us elders to speak and tell you what's right and wrong. But with this COVID, the ones that should be listening are the ones that's drinking. You know, how do we think about that? Your group right here. We have people that are drinking out the same bottles. What are you going to do about it? They're walking around drunk. You know, I have called. You know, and I was really disappointed because Tina wasn't there. What are we going to do with some of these people that just walking around drunk? Where do we put them? I called the police station and they said, we can't do nothing with them. We need our Tina back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, Council, I'm going to conclude with thank you for listening. Thank you for being able to see the evidence in front of you. And Council, I just ask that you make a fair decision. Oh, Opila Tanka.
At this time, does the complainant wish to address the council? Will you have witnesses as well? Okay.
Hello, Tribal Council. My name is Davidica Little Spotted Horse, and I am the one who turned in the complaint.
I'm sorry. Just one moment.
Sure.
Will you have any other witnesses, Councilwoman?
Will you
Are
have
all the
any-
witnesses,
Yeah,
have they been called?
yes, oh, wait now, one more.
Does the council person wish to suspend and allow the witnesses to come back in? The sequestration? Councilman Greenwald, are you okay with the witnesses joining? Would security let the witnesses know that they can all come back in? Sorry about that, ma'am. I'm sorry to interrupt.
My apologies, council, as we have another elder from the community who wanted to come and testify on my behalf, and that's Miss Angie Ronigo. So at this time, Angie, if you want to come and introduce yourself.
Angie Ronigo le matab. Call your community at wahi. Na Tina first started to become a council member. I was very excited because she's got a degree, and I know that she's younger than we are. So I felt that, she would do a lot for us. And as time went on, iwan blakang khandri rata taku ota o ichu. Tohal dwa tukter wachiapta masake phapta ekta ihoni nashna oi chake wachi. Na takun chimna mazaskarni trapnish takun yuta chimshni yuhapshin hata oi chake. Hena yuha iwan blakang Tina is a very young girl. She's got a high education, which is very, I envy her for all the work that she had done for the community. And the homeless people, and whenever somebody's in real bad hardship, when they call her, she gets there. And she uses her own money. She uses, the way I seen it, she helped a lot of people. So the council member, I pray and hope that you will give her a chance and help her and get her back on council, because we need her during this COVID-19. She's a reliable person. In any place I see her, she's really the type that really would come and acknowledge you, or when hard problems go someplace, when elderlies are sick, she asks. And like this one lady out in the country, she's dying of cancer, and her roads are really bad, and so she was trying to help with her. And I went to visit her last night, and she's not doing very good. And I'm pretty sure if Tina was still on council, she would have been out there to see her. And it's really sad because this lady was very independent. She never asked for anything from the Pine Ridge tribal place, but she likes visiting. And I pray again that the council will take this in respect and put Tina back onto the council, because she can do what she's been doing.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that is the last witness that I have at this time.
Okay,
So thank you.
you bet. Thank you. Ms. Spotted Horse? You're still under oath.
Hello, my name is Davidica Little Spotted Horse, and I am the complainant against Tina Merdanian. I would like to say, first of all, thank you to her for clearing up some of the discrepancies that were on the ledger that I did ask about when I got the papers. And another thing I guess I first want to clear up too is how the public gets information on what the tribal council does may upset tribal council. But it's our right as tribal members. We have the right to know what you're doing with the money that you get, because the money that you get is not yours. The money that tribal council people get is allotted to them because of the census done of how many people are here on the reservation, because of us tribal members. That's why you get this money. So yes, we have every right to find out what you're doing with it. And how we get it shouldn't matter, unless it was like if somebody hacked into someone's personal bank account, which did not happen. This was public knowledge. There was nothing shady, nothing illegal, nothing dishonorable going on when we got information about what she did with the money. So that I wanted to clear up, because I don't want any tribal member to think that they don't have the right to question our leadership. We do. That's why we have the Constitution. And that's why it says in the Constitution that all tribal meetings are public knowledge, all financials are public knowledge. The other thing I wanted to bring up was about social media. I don't mean to laugh, I'm sorry, but I have never posted anything about her. She forgot to mention the thing that she posted up there was from Darlis somebody's page. It was not from mine. I don't do that. I'm 47 years old. I don't have time to do that. So I don't. And I do work in my community, and I do take it serious that people look at my page. So I don't do things like that, and I've never posted anything about her family, about anything she's been doing. I didn't even post about this complaint. So I don't know where she got that from. Sorry, this mask, I'm like breathing all crazy because of this mask. The other thing is I appreciate that she has a lot of friends in the district, and that she has families that she has helped, and that she has people who came in who like her. That's great. But we're not questioning her likability. We're not questioning her popularity. We're questioning these things that are on the paper that I believe are wrong for whatever reason. You cannot justify getting or requesting money that wasn't for the purpose it was put there for. And this also, you know, I'm glad she said several times that basically Mason Big Crow knew she was doing all of these things. I'm glad she said that, because now that gives us another thing to look at. And the way she made it sound like all of you tribal councilmen do the same thing, and that all of you know what she's going through. That really gave me a lot of concern listening to that from her. Because if this is a practice that's going on, that all of you are participating in, the way she said it, that's very concerning. Not just to me, but everyone out there on the reservation who's listening right now. Just heard her say over and over that Mason knew she was doing these things and let her do it. And that there was no checks and balances, there was no accountability. But you and I know she's wrong. You and I know that if somebody comes up and brings in a request for something, and the tribe gives them enough trust to give them that check, they expect them to use it the way they said they were going to. And I appreciate that she helped somebody with reconstructive surgery. That doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right that she requested money and that it went back in. Like, that's basically saying, it's okay if we come and steal. It's okay if we fraudulently get money from you, but we paid it back. So it's okay. That's not okay. And she made all these claims that she helped all of these people, but there's no statements from them. There's no receipts. There's not even mileage turned in. And I guess I don't know how you guys run your situations, because I've never heard of, well, I could be wrong. I'm totally saying this, but I've never heard of tribal councilmen running tribal members to appointments and things. And if you do, I'm sure you keep track of that. If you have, I'm sure you could say, I ran so-and-so to this meeting. I ran so-and-so to that appointment. Here's my proof. Anyone can stand up in here and make claims about anything, but she didn't have any proof to back up what she said. There was no receipts. There was no statements. And even she paid these bills, I was waiting for her to show us which accounts. She don't have to say names, I understand that. But she should at least have something from the light company or the propane company or whoever she claims she gave the money to back up what she said. Because it's very easy to stand up here and make claims, but you need evidence to back it up. And what she explained about the ledger, like I said, I'm glad she said that. I'm glad she told us about the ledger, because then that's something maybe tribal council can work on also, about having these ledgers more specific, more detailed. And also, the last thing is just to reiterate what I said. Just because you got the money in a fraudulent way and then you paid it back does not make it right. And all of you are in positions right now to set precedents. All of you sitting here are in a position right now to show the Lakota people that this isn't going to be stood for. It doesn't matter how popular you are, how many friends you have. If you do something dishonorable, you shouldn't be in a leadership position. Thank you.
At this time, I would ask if any of the council members have questions for the complainant. Do any of the, pardon me, Councilwoman Sears?
Yeah, I have a question for the complainant.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to find out, about the general ledger that you did get. Who did you get it from? Because the reason why I'm questioning it is because when the complaint came through, it's not something we generally get in our packet for council. So I just kind of wanted to ask you who you received it from.
I did get it from Tyler, but it's because I requested it. Somebody had called me, and those in my community who know me know it's true, that if somebody is having a problem with people on tribal council, they really don't know what to do about it, and they don't know where to go, they'll come to me. And if I can't handle it, then I just show them, or even if I can, it doesn't matter. If I know the proper procedure, then I'll tell the person to go to whoever, or how to turn a complaint in. And so when I told him that I was requesting this, and who do I request it from? I needed information because someone told me she was misusing funds. There's way more complaints than that. But he said, yes, I have this that you asked for. Here it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other questions for the complaint?
And also, just to let you know, I do go, and you can ask any of your people at the tribal building. I do regularly, every month almost, ask for minutes, ask for the general fund ledgers, ask just for how I just do that. It's something I do. This isn't out of the ordinary.
Does that elicit any follow-up questions of the complaint? Will there be questions for Councilwoman Merdanian? By show of hands, I ask just 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've been going for about an hour and a half. Would now be a good time to take a brief recess before we go into questioning? Sure.
Your Honor, I also have questions for the treasurer who is here today.
Okay. Yes. Okay. No. There won't be questions from other than the council members. So we'll take a 10-minute recess and we'll come back for the questioning of the councilwoman and the questioning of the treasurer.
Who all had questions so I can write your names down?
Yes.
Who else? Anyone else have questions? Did you? What did she just